Let's talk about one of the hardest punctuation devices to use correctly, the comma. So I see people time and time again misusing commas because they're getting them confused with full stops. There's a really easy way to avoid this. So firstly, the full stop is only used at the end of a full sentence. How do we define what a full sentence is? The basic way that we define a full sentence is when you have a subject and a verb and they're working together and the idea kind of sounds complete. So I'll show you an example. You say, I went home and Tom did the laundry. So here we have two clauses. I went home, Tom did the laundry. So the subject here, the thing doing the action, in this case is I, in the first one, and then the verb is went, and then here the object is home. So that's a full idea. You say, I went home. Here is another idea, and we know it's another idea because it's starting with a new subject. So here you have Tom did is the verb, the laundry, that's the object. Now between these two clauses, because we don't have a conjunction, we don't have and, we actually have to put a full stop. We're not going to put a comma there. So there are a couple of rules that we use with commas. Now this isn't a comprehensive list of all the rules, but these are definitely the main ones. So let's have a look. So you say a verb, noun, adjective, adverb, or pronoun list. So most of you would probably know commas in lists with objects. So the classic example is the grocery store. I went to the grocery store and bought carrots, a watermelon, and rockmelon. So you have three things, so over two things, we're going to use a comma. So that's our noun list, but you can also use it with verbs. You can use it with adjectives. He was a smelly, hairy dude. Here's an example. He was beating, kicking, and yelling at him. Now, I forgot the full stop here, but you say he, all right, that is our subject. You say was, and then a list of different verbs, beating, kicking, and yelling at him. And then we will put a full stop at the end of that. So you can use it in a list. Number two, you can use it when you're addressing somebody or explaining who they are. A really easy mistake to make when you're doing creative writing or when you're doing fictional writing as well. So if you say, hey Tom, I said. So here in the example, we see we're addressing Tom. That is the character that we're saying hey to. So before we address him, we need to put the comma. Hey Tom. And then because it's dialogue as well, another place where we can use a comma, we're going to put the comma there as well. And then we're explaining in the second example here who Tom is. You say, Tom is a cruel boy. Tom, a cruel boy, died. Because if you didn't have the commas, it would just go really fast. You say, Tom, a cruel boy, died. So that's the second way. The third way is after introductions. Mostly, not all of the time, but mostly these introductions are just descriptions of time. So in this example, you say, after it rained, we went home. So you can't put a full stop here because you can't just say after it rained. If you just said it rained, then you could put a full stop because that would have been our subject and that would have been our verb. But if you say after it rained, we're asking, okay, what happened after it rained? Then we need to follow it up with the clause here, we went home. Number 4. Before conjunctions or separating clauses or phrases. So whenever we have a conjunction that's separating two different clauses or two different phrases, or if you have a phrase list, you're going to use a comma. So in this example, you say, it was Tuesday. Okay, that's our first clause, and. So when you say and, what you're doing is you're joining those two clauses together. You say, the clocks were striking 2. So you say, it was Tuesday, comma, before the conjunction, and the clocks are striking 2. The question is, if you don't know what a conjunction is, a joining word, what are some of the main conjunctions? I had a student and he taught me this great acronym, fanboys, and it's this: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So these are some of the main words that we can look for. If you find them in a sentence and you notice that you're joining two clauses together, what you can actually do is put a comma before it. You don't always have to, but this is a very common way of using a comma. Rule number 5 is when you are next to the speaking verb in dialogue. So often with speech, you're going to have a comma. Now there's 3 major ways that we can use speech, 3 ways that they appear. The most common one is this. So when you have the subject at the front and the speaking verb next to it, you have a comma, you say, Tom said, let's go. Before this quotation mark, we're actually going to use the comma. You say, Tom said, let's go. And it's very often next to the speaking verb, said. The second example, I'm putting the subject at the end. You say, let's go, Tom said. You can also reverse these two, and you can say, let's go, said Tom. That's another way to do it. But notice that after you have your quotation mark, you have a comma as well before you're introducing that subject. And then the last way to do it is you say, let's go, Tom said, we need to hurry. So you can actually continue the dialogue after you have the speaking verb, because you don't want to keep on saying Tom said. You can put a comma there and continue the speech. Thanks for watching this video on commas. If you have any suggestions of what you would like me to cover next, please let me know and I'll get onto it.